And now, here's your host of Shaping Success, Wes Tankersley. Good morning and welcome to Morning Coffee. Robert Watson and myself chewing the fat about a book that he wrote. That's right, he wrote a book, Ars Victorious. Check it out. We are in, hopefully I got the right chapter this time. Jeez, I had it there. Fast World? Is that where we're at?
Fast World.
Fast World. This world is fast. So,
Yes.
I missed Monday. I was in California. I inadvertently forgot to tell you like 9 times. And as I was thinking about it every single time, I forgot to text you and tell you that's where I was going to be. So I did a little recap when I got back. Man, I was tired. It was a quick whirlwind trip down to Monterey and back in like 2 days. So we're
Yeah, that's
here
pretty
though.
quick.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
So, Fast World was driven off an article, right, in the Wall Street Journal about people in decision fatigue. Okay. People were tired of making decisions.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, what it really talks about is the idea that we are in this kind of state where it's called the automacy of being, where many of the things we do are not actually in the cognitive part of our brain, that we're doing a lot of stuff in a different part of our brain where we can, like when we drive someplace and think about something else, right?
Yep.
Not 100% in the driving mode, but we can do it because we've done it so many times, thousands and thousands of hours, right?
My wife
And
tells
so,
me all the time she can multitask. She says she can do it.
well, there's actually no such thing as
Yes.
multitasking, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
And as a pilot, we have the ultimate multitasker, right? We're listening to traffic, we're watching the view screen, we're taking in our instruments, right?
Yep.
And we're navigating. All this stuff is being done at one time. So it's considered what we call a cognitive load, meaning we've got a big load on our little noggins and we're trying to push through. But her whole point she says we're tired and overwhelmed by choices big and small, from whether to take a new job or to have dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And basically the concept is we're worn out from nearly 2 years of the pandemic. And this is what's called fast world. In other words, the world's coming at us so fast, we end up with an incredible amount of decision fatigue. But here's the thing. This morning when I did my run, my quote was, there's a cure for bad habits, but there's not a cure for regrets.
Yep.
Okay. And so, really, that's kind of the same situation here, because in a fast world, you are depending on your habits, right? You are depending on the things that you've grooved in. I don't want to wake up in the morning, right? And go, what am I doing today? Right? No. I wake up and there's shoes, there's stuff ready for me to go through my paces so that I can check what I need to check in the morning, get onto my run. And if I want to think, I think during my run, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I've got this after that, and my schedule's all kind of planned, and I know it in advance. I don't have to do a lot of thinking. I just kind of go from one thing to the next. And that's the whole point of this is we either have good habits or bad habits, right?
Yep.
Right? It's the same thing like eating breakfast. If you don't have something picked out that's good for you, guess what you're going to get?
Garbage.
Something that's bad for you. Right. Yeah. Right. I mean, it's kind of preloaded. And so this whole thing about fast world her article really stuck out to me, because I thought to myself, the only reason why you feel all this decision fatigue is because you have bad habits.
Right.
If you have good habits, you don't have decision fatigue. You've got a whole thing of things that you do, a whole slate of things you do every day to make sure that puts you in the best place. I used to laugh. I was watching the young quarterback for the Bears, Caleb Williams, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they would do shots in and out of him. This was on Hard Knocks with HBO, right? And what they were picking up along the way was his routine. Before the game, right, he was by himself at his locker, sitting down, listening to something, and it wasn't music,
Mm-hmm.
right, to get him in the zone, right? When you saw him walking to the field, he had that look, right? Almost like 1,000-yard stare, like, listen, I know this is all great and good for y'all coming to a sporting event, but I'm going to work,
Right.
right? And he said that one of the guys was asking him a question. He said, are you here to break records and change history? He goes, well, yeah. He said, that's why they drafted me number one. We said, well, is that cocky? He said, no, that's why they drafted me number one. They drafted me number one to change history. They didn't draft me number one so I could sit back and become a really good number two quarterback.
Yep.
Right. And so it's really interesting because there's such a maturity in that decision making when he said, that's what they drafted me for. They drafted me to make history. And that's the question we have to ask ourselves. And ready? Do you want to make history?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty daunting time. But here's the thing, you're going to do it with good habits. You're not going to do it with bad habits. You're not going to do it by the seat of your pants. Okay? You're going to do it because you've prepared.
Yeah.
Prepared. Another thing he said, right? He said that practice is harder than the game.
Should be.
There you go. Why? Preparation.
Yeah, I
Good
mean
habits.
the thing is, and that's you. Michael Jordan used to say that all the time. He goes, I practice harder than I play because if I practice hard, I'm gonna play hard, and that's it. That's all there is to it.
What there was, I think it was Keenan Allen said. He said, "I've never run a route in a game that I haven't run 1,000 times on a practice field." He said, "I've never caught a ball that I haven't caught the same ball 1,000 times on the practice field." Right? That the game time is just an extension of what? Good habits.
Yeah, and I think
Right?
that you think about it a lot of times. The people who are successful in that, they change the way that they look at the game. Because I mean, when I was a kid, wanting to be like, say, a professional baseball player and practicing to be a professional baseball player are two completely different things. I can go up there and I can get in the batting cage and I'm just up there taking hacks, trying to just hit the ball, trying to make contact because that's what I'm trying to do. A professional is a person who is sitting there looking at the tee, that is looking at every single swing about where am I going to put this? This time I'm going to put it in left field. This time I'm going to put it in right field. This time I'm going to hit a line drive. This time I'm going to hit a fly ball. Like they practice that every single time. I saw Tiger Woods say the other day that he went out and putted 4-footers and he sat there and said, I didn't stop putting these 4-footers until I made 100 to 200 in a row. And you're sitting there going, shit. I practiced 10 4-footers and I'm lucky to make, 3. This guy's hitting them 200 times in a row. That is insane. But that's what it takes.
Then I remember being, practicing for football and basketball, and I would do catches out of bounds, right? Which is the leaning toes on the catch out of bounds in football, right? And I would do 100 of them. Right? Just 100 of them falling out of bounds, 100 of them falling out of bounds. Same thing with basketball. I would take shots from the free throw line or from the spots that I liked on the court over and over and over again, right? Until it felt second nature.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing in martial arts. You do the repetition or you do the striking sequence over and over and over until it's so fluid that you don't even think about it.
Right.
There's a term in the Japanese called mushin, which is no mind. You're no longer thinking about what you're doing. What are they? That is the purest sense of a habit, right? There is no decision fatigue as a fighter. I don't have any decision fatigue. Why? I'm just doing what I practiced, right? Over and over again. But it is odd because it tells us a lot about how we're structured, because I have a friend and they're really challenged about being consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally says, I don't want to be consistent. I don't want to have my day planned. I said, wow, you talk about going off the rails. I said, what about the good habits? Let's forget the freedom. I have so much freedom every day because my habits are ingrained.
Right.
When I have a gap of time, it's free time. Why? I know I've taken care of everything I got to take care of today.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's really a fascinating, the different way to run your life. But you do see people almost rebelling against, they would literally like to be making the decision based upon how you feel.
Yeah.
What do you want to eat? Well, I don't know. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, I load my refrigerator with stuff that I know I want to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Not with junk. Why? Because these are the things that are going to make me stronger, right?
Yep.
Right. When I get up in the morning, I have an orange. These are the things that I want to juice my body with, so to speak. Because I look at everything like a fuel tank, right? You throw in whatever you throw in, how's my body going to use it?
Yeah.
And
Burn
people
it
are
the
like,
most
well, what?
efficient way.
Right. Why do you take so many supplements? I said, because what they're doing is they're balancing out things at my age that I don't have a lot of, or my food that I'm taking in. Like some people say, you're low on potassium. Well, you're not going to get high on potassium by eating, two or three branches of, and I say branches because on a branch is bunches of bananas.
Yeah.
You know how many damn bananas you have to eat to get 500 milligrams of potassium?
Right.
I mean, if you're low on potassium, you need to supplement. These are the things, and it's not that you're saying you can't eat your way to health. It's just hard,
Yeah.
and to be honest with you, it's expensive.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and it's easy to see if you start to break it down. You start to realize that not everything you can eat in a day can have every single nutrient that you need. It's a progress over time of like this week maybe I get this much, but I need in order to get the amount that you need on a daily basis. You do have to supplement, and you have to figure out what works. And as we've talked about before, every body is different, and you may need
Mhm.
more, and I may need less, and you got to figure that balance out.
Yeah, and stages of your life are different too.
Yep.
What you take in at 30 and what you take in at 60 is completely different, right?
Right.
So it really does put you in a completely different position to begin to study yourself. Everybody should be a student of themselves,
Yep.
right? I love the Sun Tzu maxim that says, "If you know yourself and you know your enemy, you will not lose one in 1,000 battles." The problem is a lot of times we spend an awful lot of time and energy learning our enemy, but not learning ourselves,
Exactly.
right? So we've got our enemy down. I know exactly what that guy's going to do. Unfortunately, you don't know what you're going to do.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the thing. Like I've thought about this a lot of times. Is like we sit here and we spend so much time putting that effort on what other people think, and I do it a lot. Like it's hard for me because I do it a lot, and I just kind of went through this situation again when I was on this little trip here because I had people talking to me about the way that I parent my kids, and I'm sitting there going, "You don't know me." Like we sit here and we allow these people to tell us how to parent or tell us who we are, and they have this little 30-minute, 40-minute, 1 hour, 2 hour snapshot of who we actually are. They see a reaction that we have, and they make a judgment on that amount of time when they don't understand what's going on in the background. They didn't wake up that morning with those kids. They haven't gone through everything that they've gone through. They don't know what the struggle is, but we sit there and we allow them to judge us. And it's just not worth it. If we can get it out of our head, and I'm telling you, I'm
Mhm.
speaking this from my experience because that's how I am. I'm the same. I'm that way. I have to be willing to try and figure out how to just take care of myself.
Very
And
true.
yeah,
There's one also interesting that I don't think the author she did a fantastic job on the article, by the way, but what she didn't realize was the term fatigue.
mm-hmm.
Okay, and so what fatigue suggests is you don't have the muscles to continue, right?
Right.
And so the question is, why didn't you build the muscle? If you're fatigued,
Mm-hmm.
what? So the whole point about lifting weights, and you know this from being in the weight room, what are
Yep.
we searching for? We're
Fatigue.
actually searching for fatigue and then what else? Failure,
Yep.
right? So, I mean, it's interesting. We can go in the weight room and we know exactly what it takes to build muscles. We
Mm-hmm.
got to seek out fatigue and push toward failure. But yet in our lives, we don't seek out fatigue and push to failure.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things too that this is, that brings this whole conversation to this place is the fact that there are so many more choices now, right? Like there used to be
Mhm.
way less choices. And because I have this supercomputer in my hand on a daily basis, I have multiple choices of things to do. I can get on a TV, I can be on a TV and on my phone at the same time. I can have a book in front of me. I can reach for this, I can reach for that. And it's interesting how all those things give you all these options. And then, like during COVID, it was like, well, we can't go to the store. We have to stay at home for the first couple weeks or whatever. Then they figured out what it was. But it's like, okay, now I'm going to order DoorDash. Well, let's have someone else go to the store for us because we can't go to the store. And then we have this big selection of things that we can get. And then, oh, now we have choices. I mean, it's one of those things like these
Yeah.
choices that you didn't have before, you now have. And I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. Like we're still talking about it 2 years later because it's made such a 2 or 3 or 4. What is it? Has it been 22? It's been almost damn,
Three.
yeah, three and
Yes,
a
three
half, almost
plus.
4 years. And
Yeah.
we're still talking about all these things because it has finally come to a head. Our children don't know how to communicate anymore because they
Mhm.
spent a whole year out and they're behind in communication. It's just there's this whole thing that we're getting from the last 3.5 years that is now finally catching up to us in the issues that arise from that situation.
Yeah, and one of the fascinating things about social media, because we include YouTube in social media, one of the things I've loved about it is I will sit and watch professors at other universities give lectures, right, on
Hmm.
YouTube. And so one of the things that YouTube has done for me as an academic and a researcher, right, is it's brought more data to me, more
Right.
faces to me, more. So before I read an academic's book, I go online to see if he's been interviewed about it. He
Hmm.
or she's been interviewed. Why? I want to watch the interview first because
Right.
I'd like to see what they emphasize after writing the book and the entire experience of writing it. What do you think was important? What was the takeaway you had? It makes it easier for me to read.
Yep.
But all this, having information, if you can be selective,
Hmm.
right? Any of us can be selective. The amount of information that's in front of us is wonderful. I mean, it's just amazing. But you do just like going to the buffet line at the local restaurant, right? You have to be selective.
Yeah. I mean, and that's down to like this app that we're sitting here. We're on TikTok right now. It's like you think about the way that it is. It's like the algorithm figures out what you want to watch. But like you can sit here and you can watch us talk right now about something that is very interesting and educational, or you can go and just swipe for 20 minutes and go through stuff that's very mind numbing. You can
Well,
escape.
yeah, yeah. Some friends were having a little bit of a kind of a little spat between them, right?
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, I got a DM that said, yeah, I know XYZ's probably mentioned this problem to you. And I laughed because no, XYZ's not mentioned anything to me. Because to be honest with you, other than coming on to say, to talk to the people that I engage every day, I'm not on TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm just not sitting there swiping over and over again. And I don't, this is not, this is a source of a place to get inspiration from. I love the people on here, and one of them came in a few minutes ago. I love the people that post their workout stuff because what
Yep.
they're doing is they're posting their good habits, right?
Hmm.
They're posting the transition. I love seeing transitions. I mean, because you and I have been through transitions in our life, right? Where we
Right.
got physically to a place where we weren't in a good spot, and we had to turn that all around. And I love seeing people go through transitions, right? Where they were 20, 30 pounds overweight, and now they're just ripped. I mean, not ripped as in the sense of 2% body fat, but looking damn good, right?
Right.
That's what I said. That's part of that good habits, right? Let me show you my transformation. Let me show you all these good habits. I think that's so cool,
Yeah.
right? And
And
the other side of it is you got these people that want to share positivity and just want to brighten your day and smile. Love that stuff.
yeah, and
That's a way to start your day.
it's exactly how I feel too. It's like we want to inspire people. We want people to be better. And what does it take to do that? What are you going to do every single day to be better? And what I enjoy about it is like you see these people from different walks of life who are going through some of the same things that you are, and you can relate to them and you can identify with what they're what they're going through. And that's why,
Absolutely, it's
you
relatable.
know, outside looking in, like looking at someone like you listen to some of the things that you say, and I don't think that people really understand because it's that perception thing that we've talked about multiple times. They see, like you look at my following. I got 24K followers on here, but the interaction is not there. Like that's just because you have that number. They're sitting there looking, oh, this is a big creator. Well, yeah, you may be big in numbers, but do you really have that engagement? Do you really have those people hanging out? And that's the thing. It's like it's not really what you perceive it as. You have to continue to keep going.
Yeah, I've had the privilege of probably having about 300 friends
Hmm.
Now I have a lot more on there. There's like 2,500 or whatever, but there's 300 people that in a given week I connect with 2, 3 times, maybe 5 times in the week,
Right.
right? Which is really an incredible blessing because they're almost like my neighborhood, right?
Hmm.
So every day I come on and I get a chance to see some people all the way down the other end of the street. I don't see every day, but then I've got my people. One of them in here is Steffi. I see her every day,
Yeah.
right? So she's like my next door neighbor or my across the street neighbor, right?
Yep.
And it's very cool because I actually engage with these people. I mean, how you doing? Have a great day. A whole lot more than I actually in with my neighbors,
Yep.
right?
And
Because
that's
I
it.
actually don't see my neighbors.
Yeah, you find those people. You know, we talked about the top 5 people. We talked about lots of different things, but you find that audience, and I know that certain people are going to engage every single day. And if it, you know, like one of the biggest excuses I kind of get sometimes is that, well, you're never on my FYP, and it's like, well, then I'm not that important. You know, like, cause if I'm not on your FYP and you want to see me, you're going to come look for me. Right. And that's where
Yeah,
we have to
it's not
go, is
hard.
those
It's
people
not
who we
hard.
look for, and those people
Yeah.
who we engage, and those people who we're going to find them.
Yeah, and that's the joy. And again, this is back to good habits, right?
Hmm.
My good habits are I have these great friends and these people that motivate me and people that are funny, people that bring me smiles into my day, right? If I feel down, all I got to go is to my TikTok account, right?
Yep.
Because I'm going to see at least a dozen, 2 dozen smiles, right? That's cool.
Yep.
That's like a neighborhood of uplifting and inspirational. If you want to get down in the muck of any situation, you can. But I think that a lot of this used correctly, like I said, YouTube used correctly, man, as an academic, it's amazing.
Yep.
TikTok as a just a human being, pretty amazing.
Yep. Exactly. Well, another good chapter. We will be back on Monday. We appreciate y'all hanging out here, Steffi, Nikki, all you guys that are engaging in the comments here. We appreciate you. If you've joined us for the first time, please go check out. It's actually on podcast as Shaping Success with Wes Tankersley. If you want to listen to it, you can go check it out on YouTube as well. It has been Robert and I for about a year now, and we are lazily trying to figure out. I think we have a name, but we have to get some stuff done and make this more of a him and I. I'm trying to shift Shaping Success to something completely different, but we have a little network here. We're going to build some shows on it, and we're getting through the book. We're almost done. I mean, there's 2-3 more chapters, I think. So we'll have to find another something to talk about on a Wednesday, but I don't think that's very hard because we have a lot of things that we like to break down. So
Thank you all for coming and
yep,
showing up.
we
Appreciate you.
appreciate you, and we will see you Monday. Have a
Take
great
care.
day.